She mocked, "You're too broke to leave me, so I bought the house next door." The words were not just a memory, but a brand seared into my soul, a constant, humiliating echo of the moment my wife, Lydia, had finally revealed the absolute contempt she held for me. We had been in our cramped kitchen, the air thick with the smell of yesterday's failed dinner and the acidic tension of another argument about money, about my failures, about the life she believed I had robbed her of. I had finally gathered the splinters of my courage and whispered the words I'd practiced for weeks, my voice trembling. "Lydia, I think we need a divorce. This isn't a marriage anymore." She had stopped wiping the counter, her shoulders going rigid before she turned to face me, a slow, cruel smile spreading across her face as she delivered her verdict with the precision of a surgeon wielding a scalpel. Her laughter was a short, harsh bark that held no warmth, only a glacial superiority that made me feel smaller than I ever had before. She gestured vaguely around our dated, peeling kitchen, at the refrigerator that sometimes hummed too loudly, and the linoleum floor she constantly complained about, as if its very existence were my personal failing. "And go where, David?" she sneered, her eyes scanning me from head to toe, taking in my worn sweater and my defeated posture. "You're too broke to leave me. You have nothing. That stupid invention of yours was your one shot and you blew it. You're stuck here with me, so you might as well get used to it." With that final emasculating blow, she had turned and slammed the bedroom door, leaving me standing alone in the dim light, the truth of my perceived worthlessness settling over me like a shroud. But Lydia, in her arrogant certainty, had made a critical miscalculation. She believed she knew everything about my failures, but nothing about my quiet perseverance. The stupid invention she mocked, a simple but highly effective universal plumbing fitting designed for quick, tool-free repairs, had not in fact been a complete failure. Years after every investor had laughed me out of their office, a major home improvement chain had stumbled upon the patent in their search for reliable, affordable parts for their own product line. They had tracked me down and made a surprisingly substantial offer for the full rights, an offer I had, with a sense of poetic irony, accepted silently and immediately. For 5 long years, while Lydia constantly reminded me of my financial ineptitude, I had worked 2 silent, grueling jobs, a daytime warehouse shift and a nighttime security guard position, telling her the extra money was for bills, while every single penny of the acquisition money and my double wages flowed into a secret account she knew nothing about. It was my escape fund, my monument to patience, and my future, growing steadily in the shadows of her disdain. The day after our kitchen confrontation, a strange and powerful calm settled over me. The fear was gone, replaced by a cold, clear resolve. While Lydia was out on one of her habitual shopping sprees with my credit card, a ritual of her financial dominance, I put on my best jacket, the one she said I looked like a trying too hard salesman, and I met with a realtor. I didn't look at rundown apartments or small condos. I went directly to the one property I knew would send the most powerful message, the stunning, modern glass and steel new build right next door to our own tired, dated home. It was the house Lydia obsessed over, the one she pointed to every Sunday on our walks, complaining loudly that we would never, ever be able to afford something so luxurious, a constant symbol of everything I could not provide. The realtor, a young woman named Sarah, was initially skeptical, her eyes briefly flicking to my old car parked on the street, but she maintained a professional demeanor as she showed me the empty, sun-drenched rooms. I asked few questions, my heart hammering not with nervousness, but with a fierce, burning anticipation. I walked to the large window in the master bedroom that offered a perfectly clear, almost cinematic view directly into my own current kitchen window, and in that moment, I knew this was the only choice. I turned to the realtor, pulled out the bank card linked to my secret account, and said, "I'll take it. Full cash offer." The look on her face was a satisfying preview of the shock to come, a beautiful blend of surprise and sudden, profound respect. The paperwork was finalized with a startling speed that cash enables, and within a week, the house was mine. I said nothing to Lydia, who continued her life of pointed barbs and smug superiority, utterly oblivious to the earthquake brewing literally 20 feet from her doorstep. I arranged for the movers to come on a Tuesday morning, a day I knew she had her long, leisurely yoga class, ensuring she would be present for the main event, but absent for the preliminary setup. That sunny Tuesday, I stood on the pristine driveway of my new home, watching as the large moving trucks pulled up, not to take things away, but to unload all new luxurious furniture, a sleek leather sofa, a beautiful oak dining table, art for the walls, everything she had ever wanted and told me we could never have. I saw her car pull into her own driveway, right on schedule, and I watched from my new living room window as she got out, her yoga mat tucked under her arm, her expression first one of simple curiosity at the commotion. Then it shifted to confusion as she saw the scale of the delivery, her eyes narrowing at the clearly expensive items being carried into the house she coveted. Then her gaze landed on me, standing casually in the doorway of what she believed was someone else's dream home, holding a glass of iced tea. Her face underwent a rapid, spectacular transformation from confusion to dawning, horrified disbelief, and then finally into a mask of pure, unadulterated fury. It was a look more satisfying than any fantasy of escape I had ever harbored. She stormed across the perfectly manicured lawn that now belonged to me, her face flushed a deep, furious red, looking less like the composed woman who mocked me and more like a tea kettle about to scream. "What is this, David? What are you doing? What is this disgusting lie?" she screamed, her voice cracking with a hysterical edge I had never heard before. She was pointing a trembling finger at the house, then at me, her eyes wild, already calculating how this impacted her, her money, her life. She was screaming loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear, but I just took a slow, calm sip of my tea. I let her rage wash over me, her demands for what was hers becoming more and more shrill, and I felt nothing but a profound and peaceful silence within myself. When she finally paused to draw a ragged breath, her chest heaving, I reached inside my new front door and pulled out the manila envelope my lawyer had prepared. I held it out to her, my expression neutral. "These are the divorce papers," I said, my voice even and quiet, a stark contrast to her screaming. "Your copy. My lawyer advises you to get your own." She stared at the envelope as if it were a live snake, refusing to take it, her mind seeming unable to process this new legal reality. "As for the money," I continued, watching her closely, "you are correct. I had money, but it wasn't ours, it was mine." I reminded her of the countless times over the years she had insisted on keeping her finances rigidly separate, how she had made me sign a post-nuptial agreement after my business failed to protect her assets from my financial incompetence. I recalled how she constantly reminded me that everything in our house, from the towels to the television, was bought with her money, and that my contributions were negligible. "You were very clear, Lydia. What's yours is yours, and what was mine was nothing, until it was something. And according to the agreement you demanded I sign, my premarital assets, which this is legally considered, remain mine alone." The color drained from her face as she realized the exquisite legal trap she had built for herself. She was now stuck in our old, crumbling house, a monument to her own misery and control, while I lived in a shining palace of my own making, right next door, a constant, visible reminder of her catastrophic miscalculation.
The divorce proceedings were long and bitter, as I knew they would be, but her case was weak, built on fury and entitlement rather than law. And my prenuptial agreement, which she had once seen as her shield, now served as my impregnable armor. I settled into my new life, the silence in my beautiful home a blessed relief compared to the constant tension next door, and I began to truly live for the first time in decades, learning to cook, reading books, and simply enjoying the peace I had purchased. I knew the ultimate victory was not just the house, but my freedom from her toxic narrative, and I thought my story was complete, the final chapter written. The ultimate twist, however, arrived 3 months later on a crisp autumn afternoon in the form of a sleek silver car that pulled into my new driveway. Lydia, who had taken to watching every move